Hello there. So I have picked up quite a bit of information as we've been moving through September in dreams and in transmissions. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I've been picking up. As I've said before, September has been very much an opportunity for the opening of portals within the antimatter reality, within the mind, and for someone who is connected to that, then drawing down this monadic field or monadic structure, which is a whole presentation of delivery of information coming into the mind. So that's been happening with me. I know that that's been happening with many of you. So I'd like to talk about some of the things I've picked up. But first of all, I've been asked several questions. This first one, just about a date, by lots of people. Lots of people have asked me if the 4th of October, 2023 is a significant date for anything. I've had other people, several people also ask me, is the 22nd of October a significant date for anything? And I've also had people ask me if the dates of the eclipses are significant for anything. So I'm going to go through this briefly. The 4th of October, I personally haven't received anything from the 9 regarding this date. I'm looking at this date in sequence with the other dates around it. And to me, it is not presenting itself as a significant date. That doesn't mean it's not. It's just that I haven't received information from the 9 and I'm not seeing it myself. So different people see different things. So I'm not saying no, but for me, it's not standing out. Okay, and the 22nd of October is exactly the same. I haven't received any information from the 9 about this date. It's not standing out in any particular way compared to the other dates around it. So again, I'm not saying no, it's not significant. Other people may be picking up that it is. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's just that I'm not seeing it. I'm not picking it up. I haven't had my attention drawn to it. So I'm not saying no, but for me personally, they're not significant in what I am seeing in my reality or what I'm receiving from the 9. So I'm just going to respond to those, as I had a lot of questions, especially about the 4th of October, loads of questions about that date. So obviously someone somewhere has put this out and it's not in my sphere. So that's the answer. The 21st of October, interestingly, which is the day before the 22nd, obviously. Now I have been drawn attention to that. It's not a global spike. What I was told was for some people, and this is a smaller group, this is not the entire Aurora network, it is a smaller group, maybe 10 to 20% of the Aurora network. So 10 to 20% of awakened individuals. The 21st of October will be significant, and it's all to do with something to do with their astrological chart, and that's way too deep for me. I'm not an astrologer, but some individuals, some awakened individuals, and potentially they may not even be awakened individuals either, but this is looking at the Aurora network and the awakened individuals, we're looking at 10 to 20% of these individuals. They will experience some kind of gathering or celebratory event or family event or family or friend activity. So there is a celebratory energy on that date for around 10 to 20% of the Aurora network. But that isn't a global spike or a national spike in energy for any particular domain. So the eclipses, yes, absolutely, they are significant, hugely. So there are high energy spikes on these dates. And I'm not going to go deeply into the eclipses now. I will be sort of covering this as information comes in more from the 9. But the significant dates that I've been given at the moment are the 13th and the 14th of October, especially the 14th, and the 28th and the 29th of October. So these are 2 eclipses coming in October. And yes, they are incredibly significant. And I will talk about those as we get forward towards those dates. So that's the question about the dates in October. And anything else I'm told, I will come on here and let you know. So really, what I'd like to talk to you about is one of the chapters in the story. So we're going to go back to the novel and we're going to have story time. I know you all like story time. For those who do not like story time, you can click off now. You don't have to listen. For those who love story time, let's go for that. Okay, so we are talking about a seeding that has occurred with this large boat, and this big boat, let me describe it. It's got some sails on it, and these sails have gone quite rusty. And the reason for that is the boat is actually quite an ancient boat, and the sails have gone rusty. However, they still use the boat. And on the boat, they all drink. They like to gather and sing, all the sailors. And what they like to do is drink brandy. So this is a large boat with rusty sails where they drink brandy. So this is what the story is going to be about. So what I'd like to talk about is there are 2 boat harbours. One harbour, this is in the village. So you've got this this harbour where the big boat with the rusty sails, where the sailors drink brandy, comes into shore onto these 2 harbours. One harbour is called the main platform, and that is a harbour in the village. So we haven't been down to the sea yet in the village. We've seen rivers and ponds, but we haven't actually been to the sea as far as I'm aware. And then there's another harbour a little bit away, and that's the harbour where the Rumble Jungle nightclub is. So you've got the main platform harbour and the Rumble Jungle nightclub. So I'd just like to read to you a little excerpt here from the novel, which I posted on social media. So the story says, "Take the coffers away from the earnings of that main podium and then kick off the podium entirely. They needed a legitimate reason to do it. 6.5 million awakening wonderful mermaids in the sea by the boat. The plan is to discredit them all as well. Any influencer defending the rusty boat will be a target and could potentially also lose the podium due to policies and reasons. The accounts held in the village piggy banks could also be affected as the policies and reasons are similar. They plan to go for the whole structure and all the sea life around the boat, not just the boat. And people wonder why I am a storyteller. So yes, I have had some criticism for telling stories, and I hope listening to this story, if you've stayed with me, you will realize why I love to tell stories and why I like to talk about the fictional characters, because it's fun and it takes you away from real life, because it's all fiction, it's all fantasy. So I hope perhaps that has explained the reason for that. Continuing on with the story, however, this will backfire massively. New mermaids will swim in from other seas, new podiums will present themselves, and precedents will be set. Not quite sure what that means. Precedents will be set. That came from the 9. All this will take time. So this is going to go on. And the big boat story with the rusty sails will be around well into 2024. So this is going to go on for months. The one who drank all the brandy, he knew this would happen, and the story continues. So let's have a look at these boat harbours, and I want to just talk about the coffers. So what you have here is in the 2 harbours, you have the main platform harbour and you have the Rumble Jungle nightclub harbour. There are some sailors, ex-sailors, that don't sail on the boats, but they have big bags of golden coins, and these are like little sort of leather pouches, or they could be made of all sorts of material, and they have golden coins and silver coins in these bags. And when the big boat with the rusty sails, where all the sailors drink brandy, when the big boat comes into the harbor and docks, the sailors, after drinking all the brandy, get off the boat, and they are given these bags of gold coins and silver coins. And they've been able to do this for well, a long time. Any boat lodging into the main platform harbor will be given bags of gold coins and silver coins, and sometimes rubies and diamonds. They'll be given these bags to say thank you for sailing the boat. Thank you for sailing the boat and docking in our harbor. So what actually happened to the big boat with the rusty sails, where the sailors all drink brandy, is when that boat docked into the main platform harbor, they stopped giving him bags of gold coins and silver coins. They stopped giving the sailors the bags of gold coins. It's not because they were drinking brandy. It's because while they were on the boat, they were talking, and they were saying all sorts of things. And these individuals that hand out the money, they found out that the sailors had been talking about things for many, many years, and so they stopped giving the sailors the gold coins. So the boat is still docking at the main platform harbor, but doesn't receive any bags of gold coins or silver coins. But the boat also docks over at the Rumble Jungle nightclub harbor. And the boat with the rusty sails is receiving gold coins and silver coins and gemstones and rubies and diamonds in little bags from the elves and gnomes and goblins that come over with those bags of gold. So there was a overlord dark wizard, and the overlord dark wizard is very connected to the main platform. So obviously when that overlord dark wizard, or group of dark wizards, let's say, said to the main platform, don't you give those golden coins to the boat with the rusty sails and the sailors that drink brandy anymore, don't you dare. And they're like, yes, of course we won't, because they're all in one like little family. The main platform harbor is kind of all connected to these dark wizards. But interestingly enough, the Rumble Jungle nightclub is not connected. It's an independent harbor, and they're independent goblins and gnomes and fairies who work there with their little bags of gold and silver. But that did not stop the dark wizard and all the minions that work for the dark wizard, whoever is assigned that job, that didn't stop them going to the Rumble Jungle nightclub harbor owners and saying, are you going to stop giving this boat with the rusty sails, with the sailors that drink brandy, are you going to stop giving them the bags of gold and silver? Are you going to follow suit with the main platform harbor and do the same thing? And they replied, well, the boat with the rusty sails and all the sailors that drink brandy haven't done anything, because the conversations that they're having on the boat is nothing to do with anything that is being said that they were talking about 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So we don't really believe that we should penalize the sailors who drink brandy. If they want to come and use our harbor, then we're going to give them bags of gold and bags of silver. So the reason why I'm saying all of this is because this event has seeded. At the moment, it's not evident, but there is a consciousness that is growing, that is that which would be best described as an exodus from the main platform harbor into the Rumble Jungle nightclub harbor, and potentially in other harbors. But specifically the Rumble Jungle nightclub harbor, that has been lifted up because of this. And there will be many who normally will walk along the promenade of this harbour and have a look at all the different boats coming in. And because they're not giving the bags of gold to the big boat with the rusty sails and all the sailors that drink brandy, these people that like to walk along the promenade and simply just view these boats have decided that they're going to go and walk along the Rumble Jungle nightclub promenade instead. So it's an exodus kind of consciousness. It's a movement. It's not going to be one great big overnight thing. It will be when it comes to numbers. Some numbers will be moving over to the Rumble Jungle nightclub, and people will start to walk over that promenade more and more and more. But slowly over time, the exodus will be taking place. So this is everything that relates to what I've been talking about, which is when the overlords come in with a particular agenda that is to change, shift, cancel, move, and deliver something that they want, there's always an instant antidote to that springs up. So you have this Armageddon timeline within the village where the overlords live, and then you have this antidote that springs up naturally. And that's what this is. So you have the main platform harbour as part of that overlord Armageddon timeline agenda, and the movement coming up as the antidote to this is the shifting to the Rumble Jungle nightclub and the rising of the Rumble Jungle nightclub, simply because one harbour group of goblins and pixies and elves did not act in integrity, and another harbour where you have pixies, goblins and elves did act in integrity. So anyone who is working with integrity themselves will see this, and their, let's say, loyalty and support will want to shift to the harbours that are acting in integrity with the boats that are coming into their harbour. So let's go on to the next part of the story. So this one is about a rabbit, and the rabbit's named after the boat with the rusty sails. The rabbit is called Rusty, and it's about Gloria Love's dream in the village. And I wrote this up on social media just to let everyone know about the latest little excerpts in the novel that's being written. So what I wrote was, Gloria Love dreamt that Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit was arrested in the village. So this was a dream that Gloria Love had 3 nights ago. So around the 20th or 21st of September, Gloria Love dreamt that Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit was arrested in the village. It doesn't mean this is going to happen in actuality. Doesn't mean it's going to happen in real life, you know, in the village, but it's a dream that Gloria Love had. She saw this occur. So Gloria Love wants to let the villagers know what her dream is, because there have been many dreams that Gloria Love has had before that have actually manifested. So she is able to sense the fabric of the dream and whether it holds substance. This one did hold substance, but you're viewing potentials. You're not always viewing actuals, but with the more substance within the view, within the remote view, the more likelihood of the manifestation. So the it's not advice, because Gloria Love wouldn't give advice, but the offering and suggestion to those hearing about this dream and looking at a potential of this occurring in actuality is to remain within the observer viewpoint. Emotion does not help the manifestation of all that is good and all that is positive. Emotion does not steer this reality into its best outcome. Yet emotion is understood here, especially when, you know, lots of people really do love Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit. So that was the dream. And Gloria observed this without emotion because she knew that that would be the way not to add to the outcome. Doesn't mean that any emotional reaction is suppressed, and it doesn't mean that it's buried, or it doesn't mean that it is superimposed over in a spiritual bypassing sense. It means that the observer viewpoint is taken, which is instant integration of emotion, is placed instantaneously. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean that compassion is not there. So in this particular vision, Rusty the Rabbit appeared to be very upset. That is, of course, understandable given the act that's taking place. However, I will add that the overall feeling of this remote view was very much that of a backfire. And again, it's a coming in from the Overlord system within the Armageddon timeline, within that aspect of the bifurcation in the village, in the novel, creating this antidote that springs up that you could see as a backfire. It is simply the negative making a move and then the positive counteracting it equally. You don't always see the positive counteracting move. You don't always see that. Sometimes you can only see the negative and think, oh my goodness, whatever's occurring. Because the positive is an energetic, and it takes time for that to manifest in actuality, because it's a consciousness that comes up. But for those who are awake and aware and who have sight, they will see these fluctuations and movements. It's like an etheric, energetic chess game that is being played out in the village. So the overall feeling was very much that of a backfire, as in, if this image that Gloria Love saw in her dream about Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit being arrested in the village, if that occurs, there's a backfire with it. So it creates something else. So that's why lending emotion to that, it may be not your best option and not serving you, because the actual outcome is something to be joyful about, because it seeds so much else and is all going into the Paradise timeline. It's all going into the New Earth timeline. It's all moving into the Lemurian way, the new Lemurian way. So that's why we want to observe. We don't want to give our emotion immediately to what looks like a negative act. Let's observe. Let's remain neutral, because the positive has not manifested yet. Let it play out before you give your emotion. Because when I did post this on social media, there were instant comments like, oh no, this is dreadful. This breaks my heart. I'm appalled. I'm devastated. Well, that's fine, but let this play out. Give this time. Something doesn't always occur in the moment. The positive will be there. I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. This is how the energy is moving. So relax, observe, and let this play out. Offer your support, absolutely, if that's what you feel called to do. I certainly would. But allow this to play out. So who is Rusty Rabbit? Well, he's the ship's captain's rabbit. He likes to sit on the rusty sails on the boat and stare at the 6 million awakening wonderful mermaids. Okay, the next excerpt that I posted up on social media is this. So it was posted as an excerpt in the middle of a larger chapter. And this is the excerpt. ... And since Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit ran through the Rumble in the Jungle nightclub, the entire club began to rise into the skies before everyone's eyes. Then followed somewhat of an exodus from the tube train you like to ride on. And so the prophecy began to be fulfilled as the timelines rumbled on. So this is another way of saying what I was saying earlier in the story about the boat coming into the harbour. This is Rusty the Rainbow Rabbit running through the Rumble in the Jungle nightclub. And as he does that, the entire club begins to rise into the skies before everyone's eyes. That's exactly the same thing as all of the individuals walking along the promenade at the Rumble in the Jungle nightclub harbour and viewing the boats coming in. It's the same thing, creating somewhat of an exodus from the tube train you like to ride, which is the same thing as the main platform harbour. And so the prophecy began to be fulfilled. So what prophecy? Well, the 9 told me this is about the exodus from the Armageddon timeline, Dark Wizard owned structures into the New Earth Paradise timeline, innovative creative structures, the independent structures of positively polarized energy. So this is what's occurring. The prophecy is that. The prophecy isn't about Rusty the Rabbit or the boat. The prophecy is the Exodus itself, which is part of the leaving of one timeline and the moving into another, the shifting from one dimensional state and the movement into another. So that's really what I would like to say in this video, discussing these dates where people emailed me about these particular dates in October, more information to come about the eclipses. And then I just wanted to talk about the big boat and Rusty the Rabbit. And please remember that everything I've said about these characters and these events are completely fiction. This is a fictional novel I am discussing. Any relation to any individuals or events or situations occurring in real life, any individuals living or deceased, is a complete and utter coincidence. These are fictional characters. Thank you so much for listening, and I will be back with more stories, I am sure. Lots of love. Bye.